Okay, now that theoretically should be better. And yes, it is. Yes, it is. We had a bit of a brief glitch in the system there. And I'm just waiting for, let's see. We got 4. Error, try again. Low. All right. Why, let's see. Why are we having such an issue with chat today? I don't know why. It feels rather, I've been having a weird day with communication. Like a really, really weird day. All right, there we go. Not seeing other comments. Okay, there we go. All right. All right. Everything is good in the world now. We're all here. Yeah, today's been okay. So today I got up and was on the old cell phone and could not be heard. I could not be heard. What do you want? What do you want? Peachy. Peachy now follows me everywhere. Wherever I go, she's following me. What? What do you want? I know what you want. You want my full rapt attention. Go find Jasper. Go get Jasper. Why don't you tag team on this show? Anyway, thanks for being here, and I apologize for the bit of the false start there. Let me give you a greetings in the chat. There we go. Yeah, operating real weird today, but we're here, and thanks for being here. So let us not tarry. Let us not waste the hours of the precious day. Let us get into the Astro Weather. I can do an ASMR version. Astro Weather. Astro Weather. It is hot out there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And we haven't even gotten into Leo season, where I think it's going to get even hotter. Greta Thunberg's wet dream coming true. Do you think Greta Thunberg's a virgin? Question mark. I still think she needs to meet Kyle Rittenhouse, her time twin, her soulmate. They were yoked to each other at birth. All right, here we go. Speaking of Leo, there's that just coming off the new moon right there. And again, it's just going to get hotter, right? We have the moon in Leo, Mercury in Leo, Black Moon, Lilith, Leo. We have Venus getting ready to go retrograde in Leo. And we've had record temperatures already. The heat dome, the dreaded heat dome, has settled over the Southwest and seems to have become a semi-permanent fixture. So yeah, it's going to get hotter. I think the mood today is actually fairly interesting, right? So we have the soggy sun in Cancer. It's soggy because it's been around. It's like French toast that gets really soggy, right? It's been around. We're at 25 Cancer, and not that it's a terrible place for the sun to be. If you're born in this day, wish you a very happy birthday and a great solar return. But we have all this other energy that is pulling away from the sun, and most of it in fire. It's kind of like, let's get on with it. Let's get on with it. Even this new moon was quite odd, because it happens so kind of late in the cycle. Usually when you have a new moon, not always, but usually it happens a bit earlier in the solar cycle, but it's right at the end. So we're also getting, it's not quite a new moon in Leo, but we're just a few days out from Leo. We're 4 days out, um, depending on what time of day, right? So yeah, we're getting a bit of the new moon energy in Leo as well. So people want to experience something different. They want to experience something uh kind of more energetic and fiery and passionate, and enough of the soggy sun. Actually, it's not a bad position for the sun because we've got a trine with Neptune, and then we have a nice sextile going on with Uranus, which we've seen. So if you can just kind of find ways to be creative and find ways to find ways to be patient. I think that's kind of a big issue for today. It's just to find ways to be patient. And I tell you, having a grind and a routine in a world where um, every day can be a grind and a routine just kind of doubles down on the grind and the routine, and the energy for today and even over the next 24 hours is that people want to move away from the grind and the routine. People want to let's get away, let's experience something passionate, let's experience something new. I would say that if you could just like hang in there a little bit and be okay with your surroundings, right? For now. Right? So you don't want to do anything really prematurely. But when that sun goes into Leo, now by that time the moon will have moved on, right? So we've got 5 more degrees. So that's 5 days. So we'll have the moon firmly ensconced in Libra. Oh, and look at that. The nodes have changed. Alert. Alert. The nodes have changed. We'll have to talk about it. If you can wait 5 days, yeah, everything like you I would say plan now. If you want an adventure, you want to get away, if you're just kind of tired of the grind, like work on it, right? Like work on the ability to do that. And in 5 days from now, when that sun moves into Leo, pack up your bags and go somewhere, go have some fun, right? Go have some fun. We all need a little fun, although Mars and Virgo might say otherwise. It was interesting. I was looking at Mars and Virgo people yesterday, and I have this theory that there's a weird kind of kink with Mars and Virgo. And yeah, there were some interesting kind of celebrities that have Mars and Virgo. And you could tell that the kink is there, right? Like Robert Downey Jr. has Mars and Virgo, and doesn't Robert Downey Jr. feel like kind of a kinky guy? Like he's got some weird shit going on. Johnny Depp has Mars and Virgo. Kevin Spacey has Mars and Virgo. See what I'm talking about here? I'll tell you who else has Mars and Virgo are both Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. So you can tell why they're bros, right? They both have Mars and Virgo. And for a while, Matt Damon, I think he's a Libra. He's able to really pull off that kind of that very earnest energy. Anyway, Mars and Virgo doesn't want you to have fun. Mars and Virgo want you to wear hair shirts and self-flagellate. I think that if you want to get some work done, Mars and Virgo can be your friend, right? Right? It's like it's kind of leading the pack here. So I would say if you want to be a good Puritan, get your work done and then play. Eat your vegetables and then have your dessert. Right? That's Mars and Virgo. So get your things done. Get them in. I was up this morning, 6:30 in the morning, working because that's what I do. I work. So I think that's the plan here. It's a short-term plan. Today, tomorrow, get your work done, especially if you plan on taking a vacation. and getting away, which I highly recommend, because we're in a grind. We are definitely in a grind, and we've been in a grind for a while. We've been in a grind since, I don't know, 2020, right? Let's take a look at the nodes. We have a major change here in the atmosphere. The true node has gone into Aries. We've been seeing that true node in Aries sneaking up on us, right? And we're dealing with intensity and immediacy and things in the now. That doesn't really help with the restlessness, because the node in this position is squaring the sun, right? And Aries and Cancer are just, they're not the best bedfellows. But Cancer tends to be a bit timid in some ways, and needs to have rhythm and timing. Very much a big part of the sign. And Aries doesn't give a shit. Aries is just like, let's go right now, right now, right now. So at that 29th degree, we have to kind of follow the rules here. So here, the true node is anoretic, and there's no energy. And it's sort of like it's like being at the starting line and getting ready to take off for the Indy 500. You got no gas in your tank, right? But there's this urgency. There's this sense of just wanting to get to it. Like, let's get to it. It's the same thing over here. Same thing over here. And I do think if you were to start a relationship today or have a hot, passionate affair, it could be very interesting. I'm just saying, with Venus towards the end of Leo trining Aries. Now, I don't know how long it'll last, but clearly there's a lot of heat, both meteorologically and metaphorically, in the air, right? But we're on basically a 19-month cycle now with this true node in Aries and the South node in Libra. The South node in Libra, relationships are really put to test. And even when we have Venus retrograde, relationships will be put to test. Man, this is all about now. Me now. Right? That's Aries. And you're gonna have a lot of people really wanting to get their needs met. Okay, so let's again just put this in the context of where we've been since 2020. A lot of deferred needs. A lot of deferred needs, a lot of just having to do what the state tried to tell you to do, or what Fauci tried to tell you to do. Or if you didn't do that and you were, doing everything in your power to stay out of their butterfly net, even then you had to defer your needs, right? Like, you had to kind of like, well, I'd really like to go to this beach, or like, I'd like to go on this vacation. And it's like, well, no, you can't do that because there's a pandemic, right? So we've all been dealing with sort of deferring our needs. And with this true node in Aries, it's kind of like, enough. And the political correctness is just going to get blown right off the tarmac. Okay. It is going to get blown right off the fucking tarmac. And the South node in Libra, it's like, well, what about law? And what about the rule of law? And what about civility? And what about our rights? And it's like, true node in Aries doesn't give a shit about your rights. The true node in Aries demands action, right? Action. People are restless. The natives are restless. And the fun is just getting going, right? It's just getting started. There's no energy there, but just wait till it gets to 28. And then it'll start to go a little kooky. Let's talk Mars Saturn opposition. We got that going on, right? So we're going to have a Mars Saturn opposition and a Sun Pluto opposition. Let's just say authority doesn't taste so good under those oppositions, right? It just doesn't taste good. Like, if you're Mars and Virgo, we talked about this last week, with the Saturn opposition, you're like, fuck, I'm tired. I'm tired of grinding for people that don't really appreciate what I'm grinding for. There's your Mars Saturn opposition. Saturn says, come on, you can do it. You can do it. You've always done it. You've always done it. And Mars and Virgo is like, yeah, I've always done it, but I'm not sure I want to continue to do it. Right. And then we have the sun coming into this opposition with Pluto. And it's like, man, watch out for your feelings getting hurt, because there's a bluntness in the air with the true note in Aries, and that Sun Pluto opposition. It's kind of take no prisoners. So who are you? Are you the hammer or are you the nail? I do think if you're dissatisfied with your quote unquote work situation or your occupational situation, this Mars Jupiter trine, where Mars is moving into trine with Jupiter, could be really good for you. Really, really good. So if you're just kind of over taking on too much responsibility and doing the work for 2.5 to 3 people, what did I talk about last week? Start looking elsewhere. Do something different, right? Because Mars in Virgo isn't bad if it has the right opportunity. Mars in Virgo wants to just roll up those sleeves, man, and just get to work. But if you don't have the right work or the right occupation, it's more indentured servitude in a lot of ways, without a lot of, I think, gratification. Now, here's what, not gratification, recognition. Here's what I think will happen. If you're one of those people and you're like, man, I've had it here. Everybody else is, they're all nincompoops. They're, half of them are, on their phones half the day. The other half can't reasonably do their work. They need too much supervision. If you're one of those people and you want to change the scenery and you initiate it, I guarantee you, absolutely guarantee you, whoever is your supervisor or whomever, they are going to want you around. They're going to say, whoa, wait a minute. Right? It's kind of like the relationship that where the person takes you for granted, and you're like, you know what? Enough of this being taken for granted stuff. Kind of on my way out. And I'm just letting you know here. And all of a sudden, that person's like, whoa, wait. What's going on here? What's going on? Let's talk about it. That's what I'm talking about. So you could theoretically, if you want to, but you have to get to this position. If you want to, you could get a raise, maybe a new title, and who knows? Maybe that would be enough. Maybe some degree of authority might be enough. Maybe actually being able to fire somebody might be enough, right? So just be prepared for that. But I do think that there's new opportunities for people who feel like they're underappreciated and overwhelmed. All right. Let's talk star of the day. Now, I could have gone with Hunter S. Thompson today, who is I've done his chart before. But I wanted to go in a bit of a different direction. And today's star of the day is none other than Red Skelton. Red Skelton is a pretty fucking interesting character. Like when you read the stories of, early Hollywood stars, their beginnings would make your toes curl, right? Like Red Skelton he was going up and down. He was born in Vincennes, Indiana. His father died when he was quite young, and he was up and down the Mississippi River doing vaudeville at like the age of 11, right? 11 and 12. I mean, that's how, if you were born in 1913, like that's just how shit went down. Like you grew up really quickly. And you can see in 2 areas of the chart for Skelton where that occurs, right? So to me, the 3rd house is, I know it has a lot to do with, siblings and sort of your immediate world, right? Like the city and the county, how you communicate, but it's also your early childhood experiences. When you go into school, primary school, you're going into the third house, right? So we have two areas of the chart that determine activity while we're young, or things that we learn and do and fall in love with while we're young. It is the third house and it is the fifth house, right? Fifth house is children and pastimes. And the whole idea is that if you're really attuned to something, you'll fall in love with the thing that you're attuned with, and it can become part of your expression in life. Red Skelton figured it out. Okay. True node in Pisces in the fifth house. He was an actor. He was an actor and he was a clown, right? That's what his deal was. And so here we have Neptune Sun conjunction. And what's really interesting is that even though people saw Red Skelton on TV, for quite a long time, I mean, Red Skelton had back in the day, he was actually signed to I think he was with Rudy Valley and Rudy Valley's radio show. And Red Skelton was making $1,500 a week due to his act. Like, that's a lot of fucking money. And Red Skelton acquired a shit ton of money in his life. Like, he was rich. He was a guy that was born down here in the outhouse and wound up in the penthouse. But I don't think people really knew him, right? Neptune, right on his sun. Again, it's very Piscean. He's got his true node in Pisces, and it's in the fifth house. So if we follow the formula, what is he supposed to do? He's supposed to act, right? Act and take on these different personas, which is very Piscean. And that clearly is what he does, right? And even this idea with Neptune in front of his sun, it's kind of like having a mask. And here we see him without his makeup, but Red Skelton had plenty of makeup, right? He was considered to be one of America's premier clowns. Not only was he an actor, but that's the world that he came from. And what's interesting about his life, and well, there's a lot of things interesting about his life, but he's a Scorpio rising, and most Scorpio rising people have something very intense happen to them when they're young. Like, it is the rising sign that determines how the individual is going to interact with the world around them. And so, of course, when he's young, he experiences death, right? He experiences the death of his father. So if you're like 11, 12 years old and you're on a Mississippi riverboat, I'm telling you right now, you are practicing Scorpio rising very early in life, right? Now, what's fascinating about Red Skelton is his first marriage, and he marries this woman. He's 17. Okay, remember, everything is really accelerated. He's 17 and she's 15, and they wait until she's 17. He's not, and he marries her, right? And he has this incredibly long relationship with her, Saturn Venus conjunction, and she becomes a major player in his life, a major player in his life. And she takes on a management role. She takes on part of the writing role with Red Skelton, right? Red Skelton's able to amass a fortune mostly due to the presence of his wife, right? And it's all, she's the power behind the throne, clearly. Now, what's also interesting about Red Skelton is that he was a prolific writer. Like, he wrote everything. And here with Mercury's a bit of the fool, I mean, he's the trickster. And in Leo, he's the trickster clown. He's performing, right? Mercury, Leo here. Mercury's not in Virgo, so he's not going to tell you like how to get better. Mercury's not in Libra, so he's not going to tell you about relationship advice, right? Mercury's not in Cancer, so he's not going to be Carl Sandburg and be kind of the voice of America. No, it's in Leo. He's going to have fun. He's going to have fun. He's going to put on a grease paint. He's going to be a goofy ass motherfucker, right? Because that's what Red Skelton was. But according to his Wikipedia, he was writing, and he'd get up in the morning and just write every day, right? That's Mercury on the midheaven. And I'll tell you what else. Red Skelton had a fucking temper. You can just tell he had a temper. And I think he'd be a very hard person to negotiate with. Like he would just be, no, no, no. Mars and Taurus, he'd have to be the guy that ran the show. He ran into some really weird stuff a little bit later on in his life. He had a son that died. Now, the other side of Red Skelton is Red Skelton was a Mason, and I think he was a master Mason. There might be a whole kind of like order of clowns and stuff, right? Like a strange order of clowns. And Red Skelton might have been the guy. He might have been the head of this mysterious order of clowns. But he had a son through his second marriage. And his son in his second marriage, that guy, he died. And his wife later on, her name was Georgia, she committed suicide on the day of her son's death, right? So like, how fucked up is that? His son dies. I think his son was around 18 or 19. He wasn't a kid, not like a young kid. And then the son's mother, her name was Georgia. You know, I don't know how many years later, but she decides to kill herself on the son's birthday. So again, you know, you get this weird thing with Red Skelton, like the clown, you know, like there's tragedy behind sort of the funny face, right? I mean, he personifies that kind of experience. The other thing with him is that guy made a shit ton of money off of like painting. Like, okay, so in 1970, his show, the Red Skelton Hour, was rating very high, but he was part of what they called the Great Rural Purge in television, which was started by this guy named Brandon Tartikoff. And you had shows like the Beverly Hillbillies and Petticoat Junction and Green Acres and the Red Skelton Show and other shows like the Wild Wild West. There were all these shows that were lodged deep into the heart of Middle America. And Middle America watched these shows. They weren't going to let them go. They loved the Beverly fucking Hillbillies, okay? But they were not going to let it go. Brandon Tartikoff comes around and says, I don't care. I don't care if they're popular. These shows are going because we're here to bring a new wave of programming. It's one of the major programming moves of the 20th century, which I've talked about before. So Red Skelton's a part of that purge in 1970. Even with high ratings, they axed his show. It didn't stop him, right? He toured. The guy was a money machine. And he even started painting, and he was, you know, doing self-portraits and clown paintings. And guy was making like, you know, $20,000 a pop for these paintings. At the end of his life, he had a 1,500-acre ranch in Reseda, California, right? And he would get up every day and he would write. Like that was his thing. And you can just see it right there. The unaspected Pluto with the inconjunct to the moon, I think drove a lot of his wealth. Here, Pluto is resources, and he's got Pluto in the 8th house. So it's rulership. And he was being driven, I think, ultimately by poverty, right? With that moon in that wacky moon in Aquarius, but nonetheless, it's like, it's his roots. It's where he came from. And he's a wacky motherfucker. You know, he's odd. Red Skelton is really, really odd. And I think you could probably see his relationship with Freemasonry right here, right? Like it's fraternal in the 3rd house. You know, that's like brothers and sisters. So his lodge brothers, and Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, and Aquarius, of course, rules what? Rules groups and organizations. But he would have had to been at the top, right? Like he would have had to have been near the top of the pyramid because he had the South Node in the 11th house, which means he's done it before, right? He's done the lodge experience before. He knows what it's about. And who knows? With the death of his son, you never know with some of these people, right? Sacrifice City. You just never know. So the thing that to me that really grabs me is that, again, as a being, right? Neptune conjunct the sun, and you just don't know who the guy is. right? It's the tears of a clown. That's Red Skelton. And that very long-term marriage that was instrumental. This woman was instrumental in his career. And you can just see it here. It's almost like, yeah, okay, this is a business arrangement. And she was still his manager after they got divorced, right? That's that Venus Saturn conjunction in the eighth house. It's not going away. Red Skelton knew that this person was key in his life. Anyway, interesting guy, strange. I didn't always like his humor. I used to think this is some stupid ass shit, right? But clearly, as far as like physical comedy and all the stuff that goes along with it, he's, an American master of the art form. So there you go. There's your star of the day. All right. Please join me over on 15 Minutes of Flame right over here. We'll be hitting it at 9:11 a.m. right there. Come on over. We got a great chat. I know some of you have to go off and do your day, but it's also available afterwards on Rumble. I got a channel over there. I also turned into a podcast, and you can witness it on the website. Although if you're probably going to watch it, I would suggest you watch the replay on Rumble because the technology is a little bit better. And then let's talk some CBD before we get out of here. True Hemp Science is the sponsor of the show, and it is some of the best CBD that I have ever had. And if you enjoy some of the benefits of THC, they're in there, right? They are in there, but they're not going to hit you in the same way. Unless, of course, you decide you want to buy some moon dust gummies, in which case they're a lot more potent than you may think they are. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, if you are interested in CBD, go to truehempscience.com. And all you got to do is spend $100 or more and type in 15MINS. That's 15MINS, and you will get free goodies. You may get some of the aforementioned gummies that I'm talking about. And you can always go to the website, make an appointment, talk with Chris. He'll talk you through all the varieties of the CBD, whether it's the water-soluble, alcohol-based, spagyrics, whatever. And each one of them is crafted for a specific use, right? So make an appointment, get some information, learn about CBD, stay in the game. It's a long game. We're playing a long game, even though right now we all just want to have some fun. All right, I'm Robert Phoenix. Thanks for being here. That's your Astro Weather for the day. Go out and have a great one. And if you're already in it, keep etching your name in the sun. There you go. Bye for now.